How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Beyond the App podcast. Sully's back. I feel it's been forever since
Honestly, I was
we've sat
thinking that.
down and recorded
I was, I
one
was
of
really,
these.
I was thinking that as well.
Obviously we took a week off, and then I did a solo one. So yeah, it's probably been about like 2-3 weeks
Two,
since
three
we
weeks, yeah.
actually
Been a minute.
recorded one of these. Um, and yeah, I don't know, man. Sully, glad to be back.
Yeah, man. I've been missing out, man. I've been feeling a bit like I was getting FOMO, and then I saw your solo video, and I was like, damn, Sam's holding it down, man. But I knew he'd be able to anyways. But I mean, it was still, it's still nice to be back. But
Yeah,
watching a
definitely.
Sam solo video it always just brings back the beginning times. Like it takes me back a little
I
bit.
don't like them times, if I'm honest with you, man. I much prefer it when you're here. But
Nice.
Sully's back, and we are back with a bit of a banging video idea, in my opinion. A video that has been like due to be
For
recorded
a while.
like
For a while.
for a while now. Like, obviously, like I said, we had that break. I had to do a
Mm,
solo video because our schedules just didn't line up.
mm,
This video we probably should have recorded about 3 weeks ago, but
yeah.
alas, it's finally coming out. Now we're recording this on the 17th of August, a Wednesday, and yeah, hopefully should be out tomorrow from when we're recording this. But yeah, if you guys don't remember, a few months ago, before the season even finished, we asked you guys for a idea about what we should record during the off season, and um, well, we got a few suggestions, and one of them was to compare teams from the NBA to teams from the English Football Premier League. So that's why I'm wearing my Leeds shirt. Um,
Oh, I didn't know that was the. You should have told me, man. I would
oh,
have. Oh, man.
well, it's fine. You've worn many basketball jerseys when I've just been wearing like t-shirt and hoodie,
That's true.
stuff
That's
like
true.
that. So I guess I can't really chat about that. But yeah, and I feel like with the start that your team's made this season, I feel like
Yeah, I wouldn't want to put it on. I can't
no.
lie.
But yeah, anyway, the thing is, when I started doing this on my own, one of the main things that my friend said to me was, I know absolutely nothing about basketball. Basketball ain't my sport. And I was like, you know what? That's fine. You do you. But I feel like this is one for those people that don't really know much about basketball, but are big football fans. We are people from England. England football is the big sport in England. So I feel
Mm,
like maybe this is for the English people. You might not want to get into basketball, but I feel like knowing what basketball teams are like your favorite football team, it's going to be a way to kind of like maybe know a little bit more
understand.
about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And, even vice versa, people, if we've got some American fans out here that, you know, as much as I don't want to try and gip when I say the word soccer, but, the English soccer league is the biggest soccer league in the world. So if you're a big NBA fan, you want to get into some good football that isn't the MLS. Nothing against the MLS, but
There's
the
some
Premier League.
ballers in the MLS. They've got
Yeah,
Gareth Bale now.
no, that's true. That's true. But the Premier League is better. If you guys want to know a bit more about the Premier League, I guess this is a video for you guys too. So I guess it's a bit of a win-win. We're not alienating anyone from this video. We're just gonna get straight in. We're gonna go through each of the Premier League teams. Each of the 20 Premier League teams. We're just gonna compare them to who we think the NBA equivalent to them is. It's a tough one to really go through because obviously you've got like your big teams that it's kind of easy, but also kind of not to kind of
Mm,
compare, and then you've got some of the like mid-table Premier League teams, like lower league NBA teams. It's obviously tough to really go through that. You've been saying to me you've found it quite tough going and
yeah, it
comparing.
was. I can't lie.
Yeah, so I feel like there'll be more conversation about some of the big Premier League teams, but I feel like I managed to get all 20 down, maybe a few out a little bit. But if you guys disagree, let us know in the comments. Obviously, there are 10 NBA teams that we're going to be leaving out of the video potentially.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys disagree, let us know down in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribing onto the video. Make sure that you are subscribing, like I said, to the YouTube. Make sure you share it out no matter what you're listening on, no matter what podcast platform you are on. And yeah, I feel like we should get straight into it. I mean, should we go in terms of alphabetical order potentially?
Yeah, we can. We can. Yeah, we might as well.
Right, so I'm gonna start with Arsenal, and I feel like maybe other than Man United, this is probably, in my opinion, the one that was the easiest for me to um kind of pair together.
Okay.
When you think, because I'm gonna put this out there, when you think of Arsenal, maybe not this season because this season they've started really well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, before we get into this, I've made, like I said, we should have done this about 2-3 weeks ago. I've made this coming into the
Into
Premier
the
League
Premier
season.
League season.
Two game weeks have been played. Everyone's played 2 games in the Prem. Arsenal have started really well, but before then, when you thought about Arsenal, in my opinion, the first word that comes to mind is process.
Okay.
Anyone know that? Like whenever Mikel
Yeah.
Arteta,
Trust the process. Trust the Arteta process.
whenever they did something bad, whenever they lost against a team that they shouldn't have lost to, it was always trust the process. It'll come
Mm.
good soon. So when you think about the word process in the NBA, which team are you thinking of?
This better not be who I think it is, because I'm a
Philly.
few.
Joel Embiid is the process.
See, I thought we were gonna hit it with the same team. I thought we were
Really?
gonna get the same team, but we didn't.
What were you thinking?
So I looked at it in the way of Arsenal. They are, but obviously prior to this season, they're actually looking quite good. But in general, they are, but like they have a good amount of history, which is what keeps them like so up. So I put them in the same boat as Chicago. So I was like,
Okay.
Chicago is still all right. Like
Yeah.
you know that they need to climb, but
A lot of
obviously the
history with
history is
Chicago.
there. But
Yeah.
I can see why you said Philly. I thought
And
you were going to say
I can
New
see
York
why
to be
I can
honest.
see why you've said that too, because I feel I'm gonna say I forget who I've compared Chicago to, if I'm honest with you. Oh wait, no, I do know who I've compared Chicago to. I feel like Chicago haven't been as bad in NBA
Yeah,
in NBA terms of as Arsenal. Sorry, Arsenal haven't been as bad in NBA terms as Chicago has been. You know, Chicago's been the away from the playoffs for like 5 seasons before last season since Jimmy Butler left. I feel like other than last season, Arsenal was still in Europe.
yeah, but it was
Is
like
what I
the
was,
dead side of Europe.
but I feel like I don't know. Maybe you could. I see where you're coming from, but I feel like just process.
Yeah, I
Just
feel you.
just
I
just
feel you.
Joel Embiid. He is the process.
Mm,
Philadelphia. They are the process team.
mm.
Um, are they going to do as well this season as Arsenal have looked to do so far? You know, 2 wins out
Maybe,
of 2 for Arsenal,
maybe.
looking pretty good. Philly choke it, but Arsenal might do that too. You never know. You never know.
Mm,
So Arsenal, Philly slash Chicago potentially.
yeah,
Um, Bournemouth, I feel is a bit easy. I've compared Bournemouth to Orlando before the
yeah.
season started. Bournemouth won against Villa, first game. But before the season started, I was like, Orlando Magic, they're not going to win much this season. Bournemouth, they're not going to win much this season. I feel like
Just like, and the fan base is really not that massive. Like, I think the
no,
Bournemouth capacity is like 11,000.
yeah,
Like,
it's not great, is it?
it's
No,
really not at all. Like,
no, no. So yeah,
that's
I feel like that one's a lot easier than Arsenal in my opinion.
yeah, 100%, 100%.
Villa, Villa is who I compared Chicago to.
Really?
I feel like they've had, like I said, the success in the past to the point where, you know, Villa European champions back in
Yeah,
like the 70s, the 80s. Chicago obviously had that period of dominance in the 80s and the 90s. I feel
yeah,
like they've been very bad, both teams, in the last 5 years, but now Villa with Steven Gerrard at the helm, with people like Coutinho, um,
mm,
you know, Leon Bailey, they brought in Diogo Carlos from Sevilla.
yeah,
They have good transfer windows because they are a team with a lot of history, and I feel they have that history. They have a decent coach. I don't know. I feel like they're getting exciting again.
I can actually see why you came with that. I can understand it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I would just think, like you said with the Arsenal Chicago, like Arsenal have been better than Chicago in terms of Premier League to NBA terms. Then on this side, I think you'd flip it, and Chicago have been better than Aston Villa in terms of Premier League to NBA terms, but
yeah. I
only
guess
just like technically.
Villa spent a few seasons in the Championship
Yeah,
not too long ago. I guess I was kind of likening that to Chicago not even getting the playoffs.
that
Um,
kind of, yeah, I can see
that
why you
yeah
came with that.
yeah.
I can understand
So
that.
yeah, Villa potentially like Chicago, but I feel like I said in the intro, these mid-table Premier League teams are really hard to kind of compare to the NBA
Mm.
teams because I feel like with the NBA, it very much is a case of you have very good, you have very
Mm.
bad, and then you have like decent just in the middle.
Mm.
With the Premier League, it's kind of like anything can happen in the Premier League.
So that's so
Is
true.
what I'm saying. So I feel like you know anything can happen there.
Yeah, definitely.
Brentford is probably the first team that I've kind of got a little bit stuck with. I feel like I've compared Brentford to Charlotte, but I really don't know. I feel like anything can happen with them.
Bro, who's Brentford, man? I don't know who they are, man. Who's Brentford, man?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I said, Brentford they can beat anyone on their day, like with Man United. Um, and I oh, this guy's that. Leave a like for Sully.
Please,
This
man.
guy's this guy's
You
down bad.
share this video for your friends, for me. We need it, man.
Yeah,
We need to
no,
get paid, man.
but also funny. Lol. United fan.
Nice one. Nice one.
Yeah, yeah. Mind the gap. Is what we say, right? I mean, I don't really know. Leeds are never really above anyone good in the table, so um, I guess mind the gap. Yeah, Brentford Charlotte. I don't really know what more to say about that. It was really I feel like Brentford was probably the last team I actually like assigned an NBA team to.
Mm.
I feel
No, I can actually back that as well because Brentford, just like Charlotte, they've got a couple good, like really good players, but and as a team they work quite well.
yeah.
But like then,
They have that super. They have Ivan Toney. I feel is like their Lamelo Ball superstar kind
yeah,
of.
like
The
yeah,
team
he's the
revolves
main
around
man.
him.
He's the
Yeah,
main one. Like everything moves around him. Yeah, and no, but I can see it. It makes sense because like they never really do anything like to change the like the way of the league. Like they never enter in top six, top eight, stuff like that. But they still can beat teams, obviously,
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
and
no, I
like
get
they're
you.
still decent in the league. Like when you play them, like especially everyone knows the Brentford away games are always like because their stadium and the fans are quite great and everything like
Yeah,
that,
yeah, it is tough to go to Brentford.
and
It's
not
tough to
get
go.
spanked 4-0.
Yeah, it's tough to go to Brentford. It's also tough to host Brighton. Um, as you also know, ironically enough, they're next in the
I
in
feel
the
like you did that on purpose. I
no,
do think
it's alphabetical order. I can't do anything about it.
but the segue wasn't needed. That's
Oh,
what I'm
sorry.
thinking.
Oh, sorry. Well, I mean, let's. Oh, I'm sorry, man. Well, I mean, just let's put it like this: your pain will be over early, and we can go on to teams, except Man United themselves. We can go on to teams that you haven't yet lost to this season.
Okay.
Um, Brighton, I feel like are a hipsters team. I feel like you wanna you want to join Brighton as a fan because not many other teams rate Brighton. So picking Brighton as your team, it's kind of a case of, you know what? Screw everyone else. I'm
Mm.
supporting Brighton. Graham Potter. You probably think Graham Potter is the greatest English manager to ever exist. You think he's like the gift from God, going to be the next England manager, stuff like that. So I've compared Brighton to Toronto, because I feel like Toronto are very much a hipster's choice in the NBA too, given that they're in Canada, they're quite far away from America. I feel they're definitely
Yeah,
not they're definitely not as good in NBA terms as Toronto. Obviously, Toronto won
yeah,
the chip, but I feel Brighton are getting better. They have a cool, like I said, I've just genuinely put hipster's choice, and they have a fun coach in my notes. I feel like Nick Nurse is a fun coach.
yeah. Everybody
That's a
likes
fun
Nick
Nurse.
Nurse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and at the moment they're challenging upper mid table. Toronto are challenging kind of like the sixth place, sixth,
Mm,
fifth, and I feel like Brighton, they finished ninth last season, best
mm,
record for
yeah.
Brighton. And yeah, I feel
And
like
then the top
maybe this,
three right now or something like.
yeah, definitely. So yeah, maybe Brighton can kind of kick on. Not obviously not challenge for Europe, but I feel like they're a solid team.
Yeah, yeah,
They're a solid team.
yeah.
Chelsea.
I've actually got them as well because, like I
Yeah,
said, I did the top six teams.
yeah.
Um,
What are you
but you
thinking?
can.
Or
Well,
are you what are you thinking for Chelsea?
I looked at them as they're a good team.
Yeah,
They always go quite far in terms of challenging for trophies. A title. Last season we saw them go to two finals and a semi-final. And we saw them like they were doing well, but they never managed to get like across the line.
I've
And
I might have the same. I don't know. Like,
I'm
go on.
excited.
Finish it.
I
Go on.
I put Chelsea as Miami.
Okay, Miami. Okay, I can back Miami, but I've gone with Boston.
Oh, nah. You see, I would have put them with Boston, but I don't. I just don't think they have as much history as Boston. Like that's the
That's
only
no
thing.
that is all that is also. I feel like yeah, Miami's probably a little bit too close. I've probably closer to
Mm,
Chelsea than Boston. I've just gone with Boston because I feel like since since obviously Abramovich and money
yeah,
went into Chelsea, Chelsea have always been competing. They've never really
yeah.
been away, other than that one awful season they had
One season,
under they
literally.
started under Mourinho
Mm,
after they won the league, the season 15-16. Um, they've always been up there. They've always been challenging for the league. Obviously, and when they're not challenging for the league, like you said, they're getting far in other competitions. Won the Champions League a couple of seasons ago. I feel like Boston are kind of like that. Obviously, yes, Chelsea don't have the history that Boston do, but of recent times, Boston haven't been winning the chip, but they've never rebuilt. They've never really had a
yeah.
rebuild. They've always been up there challenging
Mm,
near the top of the conference. Um, like you can always back Boston to beat anyone really, and also a very good defensive team. And I feel like Chelsea, especially under Mourinho,
yeah, the 14
Conte,
goals conceded
yeah,
in the
yeah,
whole.
Mourinho, Conte, Tuchel, very defensive minded coaches in my opinion. So I
Mm. Now
feel
you know what,
Boston
I
kind
can
of like
back
that.
that. I put Miami more for the sense of like they're a good team, and like they've got good players. Um, and they are like always a team to beat. Like when you go to Stamford Bridge or when Chelsea come to you, you think, right, this is a game we want to win. And I think with Miami, like when people go to Miami or Miami goes somewhere, people want to beat them because it's a statement as well. Obviously, Miami, they finished first seed last season and they'll be aiming to try and do the same thing.
Yeah,
Also, like when Miami were like winning chips and stuff like that was around the same time that Chelsea were winning. Like they won the league around that time. They
yeah,
won the
2020,
Champions League.
12-ish, yeah,
Like
yeah.
they were in the Champions League final against us and stuff like that. So this is I don't know. Like I just feel like that's like a quite a strong mix. Like that one was kind of the easiest one for me. Like I it just made sense to me. But I can understand both points to be honest. The same
No,
with
you're gonna say
Boston. I
so
can.
can I. I'm gonna say I forget who I've compared Miami to. I don't even know if I have compared Miami
Mm,
to someone. But yeah, I can understand where you're coming from with that one. I feel Miami Boston very similar.
yeah.
But yeah, just Boston have that little bit more history, which I guess I
Mm,
didn't really take into account when I was talking about Chelsea.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'd say more Miami for Chelsea. I'm gonna overrule.
Mm,
Yeah, I'm gonna say you've done me out there.
I'll take it. I'll
Rather
take it.
done me in. Crystal Palace I've compared to Memphis. young
I
team,
like that
young
actually. I like
coach,
that. I like that.
exciting. Um, Obviously this season they lost Conor Gallagher, who was like one of their main young players, but the likes of
Mm,
Matt Gurhey, Michael Elise,
mm,
Ebreze, obviously Zaha's not young, but I feel like just the way he plays, it's like
yeah.
it's crazy. Edward, Tyreek Mitchell, lot of young players.
Mm,
Obviously, well, and obviously they beat the likes of City last season, Arsenal. You know
mm.
they've shocked.
They beat us as well, actually, on
Yeah,
the last day of the season.
yeah. So they've shocked the system. They beat a lot of good teams. They had a really good season last year. Maybe, and I feel like that's what Memphis are going to be like this year. I feel like they're not going to be as good
Yeah.
as they were last season. I feel like more teams are going to be a bit more prepared for them. So yeah, I feel they have that star player in Ja Morant, which you can liken to Wilfred Zaha.
Mm.
But you can also say that they do play well without him, which you
Yeah,
can
they
say with
do.
Memphis
They
with
do.
Ja. So
I
yeah,
know. I actually quite like that one. I quite like
yeah,
that.
young team, young coach, and yeah, I feel very exciting things coming in Palace. Very exciting things
Mm,
coming for for the Memphis Grizzlies too. So I feel if you're a Palace fan, I feel Memphis is the team that you got to root for.
mm.
Everton up next. Not, I'm not sure if you'll agree with me on this one, but I've gone with Brooklyn.
Really?
Yeah, they've
Wow.
spent a load of money and they've been very bad, and they have a former good player as a coach who is not a good coach.
When you put it like that, it makes a lot of sense.
You know, Everton spent like, they've had what not they've been brinking onto financial fair play, kind of breaking it
Mm,
recently. Obviously, last season they had to deal with signing people on a free. Obviously, this year they got a bit more leeway. Richarlison left, they've
mm.
brought in a few people for actual money. Yeah, I feel I don't know. It's probably a bit of probably a bit of a kind of crazy choice, but I feel Brooklyn have been not really as good as we thought they would be, and
Yeah.
everyone thought last season that Everton would be good. It's very much the opposite,
I
and
think I
now
think the only thing that you could separate from this comparison, which actually, when you put it to terms, is actually quite accurate, is that Brooklyn have the star power that Everton don't have. I
that's
mean,
that's true.
if you look at some of the players they've got, like you could kind of argue that they have it. I mean, they lost Richarlison, but if you're looking at it last season, I mean, they had Richarlison,
Yeah,
Calvert-Lewin,
I'm gonna say Calvert Lewin.
Deli Ali, maybe, I don't know,
Yeah,
Deli,
Calvert
like,
Lewin, you can liken to Kyrie Irving because he's hardly ever there.
but when he's there, he's good.
He's good, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, like last season, Richarlison, Calvert Lewin, Anthony Gordon. I don't rate him as much as Everton fans do,
Yeah,
but
I think he's all right, but I don't think he's amazing.
no, no. You know, that's just how I think. I don't really like Evan. They have Frank Lampard in charge. I don't like Frank Lampard, but yeah, I feel like likening Frank Lampard to Steve Nash. I
Yeah,
don't know. Very good when he played, out of his depth at the moment
yeah,
in a
as a
coaching
coach,
role.
he's not a great coach.
No, no. I feel like Lampard can be a good coach,
He
but
wasn't, to be fair, I think the thing what let Lampard down was he jumped into the deep end way too
too
early.
early. Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
he was good at Derby,
Hmm.
and then,
I know.
oh, yes, you
I've still
do
got
know.
I've still got
You do
bad
know.
memories of his Derby team.
But, like, I think then he got a bit too excited. He thought, like, obviously his dream would have been to coach Chelsea,
Yeah,
and obviously they chucked it in way too early. I think if he stayed doing the lower teams, maybe like if he was to join like, you know how he went from Chelsea to Everton. I think if he did it the other way around, like maybe from Derby
maybe.
to
Yeah, yeah,
Everton or something like that, it would
yeah,
have made more sense.
yeah.
But I think that's
Well,
what let him down. And once you
yeah,
start
fair.
that downward spiral as a coach, it's hard to build it back up. Like,
And I feel Steve Nash is kind of similar in the way that he's in a team of a load of superstars, and I feel like he just
he doesn't know what to do.
no, not really. So yeah, I feel Everton like Brooklyn. It's kind of crazy when you first think about it, but when you
Mm,
actually
yeah,
properly delve into it, you can kind of see. a bit of a
No, actually,
comparison.
that's really true.
Fulham, I've compared to Detroit before the season. No one really cared about Fulham, but the reason that they're not Orlando is because Cade Cunningham is Mitrovic.
Yep, I'll accept it. The only
Yeah,
difference is the age, but they're the two star players of the team.
yeah, exactly. I feel, Bournemouth have no one. Uh, Orlando, they obviously have Bankero, but obviously isn't properly established yet.
Yeah,
So, um, I feel Fulham, they have a star player.
yeah. No, that
Started the
one
season,
makes sense.
started the season well though, 4 points in six.
Yeah, they haven't played badly.
Yeah,
And to be
decent,
fair,
decent.
like I was excited to see Mitrovic this season because of how well he did in the championship last year.
Yeah, he
The
murdered
same
it.
way I'm excited to see Cade next season.
Yeah, because he did show promise
Mm.
um, last
We
season,
were
definitely.
flaming him at the start of the season too. We were
True,
we were
yeah.
flaming
But
him.
just like everyone flames Mitrovic at the start of season.
Yeah, actually, that's
Yeah,
so true.
yeah,
This is the first year Mitrovic is not getting flamed at the beginning of the season.
yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. Moving on to Leeds, my team. Um, Leeds was a bit of a tough one to kind of go with, history in the past, but without actually winning many league titles. Obviously, we won it 30 years ago. We've been to Champions League, well, European Cup finals, European Cup semi-finals. We've been gone from the big time for a very long time, though. I've compared us to Atlanta, potentially.
Okay.
Obviously, Atlanta won the chip in the 50s. They've kind of just been teetering on. They had that good season, like 2014. What I'm thinking is the season the Leeds got promoted, the first season back in the Premier League,
Mm.
2021. They had a really good season. They finished top half. In that same season in the NBA, Atlanta had a really good season, got to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Finals, yeah.
But then last season, Atlanta had a poor run. Ultimately, still managed to get playoffs. But
Round one
from
knockout.
whatever everyone was thinking, um, they'd do a lot better than they
Mm.
actually did. And the same with Leeds. Leeds, obviously, just avoiding relegation when everyone thought they'd crack on under Bielsa.
Yeah.
But it didn't work. I feel like that's what kind of the comparison is, and I feel like this season Atlanta are going to be establishing themselves a little bit more now, with DeJounte Murray in the backcourt, and Leeds are establishing themselves a little bit more as the 51st state of the United States of America. Um, so yeah, I feel maybe a team that has needed to steady the ship a little bit. They've had a bit of success in the past, and now they're back. Leeds was a very tough one to rank, though, in my opinion.
No, I like that. I like that. And I think, like, to be fair, there are teams that we're gonna miss out, and I'm glad Atlanta wasn't one of them. And the way you've explained it actually does quite make sense, to be honest. It does.
Yeah,
I like that. I would only say that like Atlanta's star power is a bit more established than the
yeah,
Leeds.
it's probably a bit better than Leeds' yeah, in
Mm.
terms of
I mean, if
NBA.
you look at it from last season, I
Mm-hmm.
would say yeah, definitely, because then that's when obviously
Obviously,
before
yeah,
you lost out on
Rafinha,
Calvin,
Phillips, yeah,
yeah, stuff like
yeah,
that. So
but yeah, no,
I can say it
obviously,
makes sense.
yeah, but this season, yeah, no, I get you. If like in terms of NBA quality compared
Mm.
to like they have good quality players in terms of Premier League
Yeah,
quality, Leeds have more average players, but I feel like having more average players is better than having a load of trash and then two good
yeah.
players. So I feel Leeds will be alright this season, hopefully. And so will Atlanta. Leicester maybe was the second easiest one I could compare to. I've just compared them to Dallas because the 2015-16 season, in my opinion, mirrored the 2011
Yeah, I
um,
like that actually. I
NBA
really like
Finals
that.
win.
I like
Not,
it.
and also, I feel like they're still a very much an underdog team as Dallas are. But
Yeah.
in the way that Dallas kind of have one great player in um, Luka Doncic, and
Mm.
Leicester have Jamie Vardy, who is their main guy. Obviously, Leicester have more around Vardy than
Yeah.
Dallas do around Doncic before the season started, obviously.
Mm.
But yeah, I feel like just that underdog season in 2011, the underdog season 15-16, and I just compare it to that. I feel
No, I quite like that actually.
maybe
Yeah.
that's why. Yeah. Moving on to Liverpool.
Yeah, and I've got them.
Yeah, Liverpool. I don't know. I think they were an easy-ish one to rank. I feel they are because they've come at a point where they've come good at a point where City are dominating. So
Yeah.
them winning the Premier League in the 1920 season was was big for them. It was kind of like an underdog kind of
Mm.
dethroning City. Milwaukee came through in a time where
We got the same one.
where Golden State were dominating the chips. Obviously, Toronto won it the year before, but Golden State were dominating the finals. They were dominating the chips, the titles, and Milwaukee came through and won. And I feel obviously it's also a case of they've finally won another championship
Mm.
after all of their history
All that time.
in the
Yeah.
70s and 60s to 70s. And Liverpool obviously have all of that
Yeah.
history. And yeah, it's crazy that like in 30 years of the Premier League, they've only won the league title once.
Mm.
Um,
Once. Yeah, I put Milwaukee as well for majority of the same reasons. Like, they have the history way in the past, and then as of recent, like, their team is strong. They have one like amazing player that kind of carries them. Then obviously, like, you look at Mo Salah, like he's like top scorer pretty much every season that he's
mhm,
played. I think actually every season he's played, he's been the top scorer.
yeah,
Like,
he is
he,
Giannis.
he is Giannis. Like like you can't really argue that he's not the best player in the Premier League at the moment.
Yeah,
Like, and then you look at Giannis, and like the argument, everyone like argues that he is the best in the league, except from himself. Like he doesn't like
fair,
to say it,
fair,
but
fair, fair. Might be coming to Chicago in 5 years' time.
maybe I play for Chicago. That's exactly what he said.
Yeah,
Maybe I play for Chicago.
maybe,
But I
maybe.
think
I don't
he
know.
meant New York, to be honest. I think he actually meant New York.
He mistyped. He misspoke. He had autocorrect in his speech.
No, but I no, I really like that one as well. I can't like Milwaukee and Liverpool. It, it's it's a good take. Like I think because you always wonder like what are Milwaukee gonna do. Like everyone always wonders what are Liverpool gonna do, and they don't seem to like
Yeah, it's,
strengthen their team in the off
yeah, it is,
season.
and it's also crazy because I feel like despite Milwaukee winning the chip, everyone was still expecting Golden State to win it the year after, and the year after that, and the year after that.
Yeah,
Everyone still expects Man City to win the league. So if Milwaukee won the chip this year, I feel like that's still an underdog story.
yeah, it is because like everyone's now looking at Golden State to go back to back. Like
Hmm.
oh, there's so because there's so much competition. Like it's so easy to just forget about like the team with the best player in the league, and
Hmm.
with Liverpool, like everyone just like I can't even like I put myself in the same boat. I just before the season even started, I said to everyone, "Yeah, City's gonna win the league this year."
Well,
Like,
yeah, it's obvious
they,
that City are going to win the league this year.
yeah, like it's very clear and obvious. And if Liverpool were to win it, like it would be kind of
It'd be a
an underdog.
surprise.
Yeah, it'd
Yeah.
be a surprise because like their team isn't as strong as City's team. They haven't really strengthened their team in the transfer market. It's like the same way Milwaukee don't really strengthen the off season.
Hmm.
Like it would just makes like it makes sense that it is kind of like an underdog story because so many people just don't see it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But in the same way, they don't really lose many of their players. Many of their big players. Um, I don't know. Sadio Mane leaving, that's going to be big for Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean, like you can already see like I think they're starting to feel it. I don't think Liverpool fans thought it was as big of a loss. Like they thought, okay, his time's come. But I think
Mhm.
now they're starting to feel it already. Like
Yeah,
maybe we shouldn't have let him go for this guy who's has no proof that he could be good in the Premier League. But
yeah. He
you
just
know,
instead prefers to headbutt centre backs.
yeah, he thought he was signing a UFC contract, but it was actually
I
it,
don't even think you can headbutt people in UFC.
you can't. But
That's
you get away with it a little bit more in the UFC than the
fair.
Premier
That's
League.
fair. No, yeah. Liverpool, Milwaukee. I feel is definitely. If you're a Liverpool fan, support Milwaukee. Manchester City, obvious. Golden State, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
clear.
I was gonna be a funny and say they've dominated the last 10 years, and like Golden State, Man City haven't had a history before then, but Golden State obviously have. But
Yeah,
Um,
and to be fair, the only difference I would say is Golden State, like their like talent is grown from within. Like
yes.
City, they've obviously like just if they see someone, they're like, yes, we will buy.
But
And like,
but equally, I feel like they have the most bandwagon fans as well, potentially.
yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Like you can see like it's very clear. Like there's so many Golden State fans who did start supporting them from 2017 onwards. Same with Man City fans. I grew up with so many kids like who I remember we'd all be United fans, and then next year I'd see them all being like City fans. I'm like, yo, what happened? Like, why did everybody switch up? What's going on? Like,
I didn't even know what a Manchester City was when I was like 7 years old.
I swear I only knew them because like of
But
how
that's probably
fun it was to watch us batter them in the derby.
Honestly, that was
Like,
probably because I was a Leeds fan and we never really were in the Premier League. So
I mean, yeah, fair enough. But
pressure.
City were not like they were little for so long, like just like how Golden State, like pre, I'd say 2000 and I don't know, like I'd say before um Clay got drafted, they were small. Like yeah,
I feel like
Steph came in,
they had obviously the Wilt years back in the
yeah,
'60s.
way back in the day. Just like how City, they had like
Yeah, they
their
had
history
decent
was so long ago. People can't like you can't even
people.
remember
Yeah,
it. Like
people kind of like no City is a team that oil money FC. They haven't
yeah,
really had a history since 2008, but they do have a decent history.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I just feel like that. But in a simple way, Man City are the best team in the Premier League, Golden State are the best team in the NBA. The
Yeah,
two the
it's
two teams that won the chip in the
mm.
last season. So I feel like it's pretty obvious, pretty boring maybe, but Man City,
I
Golden
think they've
State is
both got a Jordan Poole as well. I think Jack Grealish is the Jordan Poole of Man City, just with
what
a bit
just
less sauce.
maybe yeah. Jack Grealish, no sauce in my opinion. Um, right. Well, we'll move on to your team, Man United. Why do we let you take this one?
So this for me was actually really easy because, like, just like Man United, this team is kind of in the bin. Still have star players, but they're
Yeah,
crazy in the bin.
yeah.
They have the history, obviously, and like if you look in the past, some of the greatest players to ever play. But
hmm
as of right now, they're
hmm
so far in the bin. You open
hmm
the bin, you can't find them. You're like, where are they? They're not even at the bottom. They're beneath the bottom.
yeah.
So for that, I've put Man United and the Lakers.
Yeah,
Like,
same. And it's
like
crazy because, like I said, I did this comparison before the season even started. You know,
No, I mean, like, look, yeah, as much as I can be an optimistic Man United fan, like before the season started, I knew it wasn't gonna be amazing. Like, I didn't think we were gonna come out the gate and start smashing everyone 3-4-0. Like, because the truth is, and same with the Lakers, like how the Laker fans will expect them to like bounce back. Like your starting five is gonna be pretty much the same starting five as last year, just like
hmm
our starting 11 was pretty much the same starting 11 as last year.
yeah.
So how much can one man change? They can obviously we know they're changing their coach, just like how we changed our coach. Like, and a coach can only bring so much. But
But equally, I feel like it's very different dynamics in football as it is compared to the NBA. I feel like a coach in football needs
mm,
to have its own players, have its own.
yeah,
It needs time to kind of settle in and establish a playing style with the players that they want to play
yeah,
playing style. I feel like with basketball, a coach can come in and switch things around in a year.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
There's so many games in an NBA season that
It's easy to pick up
it's
the.
easier to pick it up throughout the year. And I feel
I mean, we saw with
I'm
Coach
trying to
Udoka,
think.
like,
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, the likes of Coach Udoka obviously didn't have a great start to the season, but when it clicked, it clicked.
yeah,
I'm thinking the likes of Nick Nurse, obviously,
yeah,
coming in. Obviously, Kawhi's Kawhi, but the year
mm,
after, yeah, I'm going to say it was a crazy idea for what Toronto did. They fired Dwayne Casey, who won Coach of the Year, and replaced him
mm,
with someone who, no one really knew. And then
yeah,
his, first season comes in, wins them a chip. I feel like it's a lot easier for a coach to come in and transform things in a shorter amount of time in basketball than it is in the Premier League. Obviously, we've seen it with the likes of Arsenal, have had to
yeah,
endure banter ages. Um, before it's starting to finally click for them.
Mm.
Same with Tottenham. I feel like it could have happened with Mourinho. I still think that the Mourinho
I
sacking was
think it would
baffling.
have.
Um,
I think the last two sackings from Mourinho, ours and then Tottenham, was stupid. I
yeah,
don't think we should have sacked him, and I don't think they should have. Especially what was it before a cup final?
yeah,
It was
exactly. Yeah,
stupid. Made
I,
no
I,
sense.
I still have conspiracy theories about the fact that he might have spoken out against the Super League, and then
Probably because
Tottenham's
to
higher
be
ups were
honest,
like,
like football, and this is I think where it's different from the NBA because in the NBA, players and coaches they can really say whatever they want because like they always have this thing like they just have that as a thing. Like we see players they'll like openly cuss out fans on Twitter and cuss each other out and like in
well,
the
and
Premier
yeah,
League.
they'll get fines, but I feel like it's a lot more sensitive over in the
Like in the Premier League,
in the
you'd
Premier
never
League.
ever see like Ronaldo at Messi and be like, "Yo, where's
You
your
know,
hat
if
trick this week?
you know,
Chat to me."
I choose not to speak. If I speak, I'm in big
I'm
trouble.
in big trouble.
I'm in
Literally,
big trouble.
like I think that's a major difference. Like, and that's probably what.
Nobody's saying that in the NBA. No, nobody's saying if
Yeah,
I
no,
speak, I'm in
no,
big
no
trouble.
chance. Like they'd be like,
Not
"Yo,
true.
listen, Russ, how do you feel about what I
How
don't
do you
know,
feel? You've shot
you
1 of 20 from the field tonight. How are you feeling?
man, how do you think I feel?"
Like in football, it's like, well, I mean, I had a bad day, but we pick
We're
things up
gonna go.
next
We're gonna
time.
go to the training ground. We're gonna
Yeah.
work on it. It's like, Russ would be straight cussing out everyone. He'd be cussing out ESPN, Shaq, everyone, all of them. He'd be like, "This is all your fault."
But yeah, moving back to United though, I feel it's a tough place that they're in because obviously sacking your manager is not going to do anything. It's all about the recruitment, really.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
needs to get his own players in there, and obviously it's running out of time to do so. I feel like it is tough to be a United fan at the moment.
no, it is. It
I
is.
feel for you. I feel for you.
It is. And as much as, and I'd say it's the same with the Lakers. Like how I see on Instagram, everyone wants Kyrie and stuff like this, and because
Yeah,
like
that's also a thing. Man United want everybody.
yeah, no, it's true. Like growing up a Man United fan, I've seen every single footballer in the history of the world linked to our club. Like everybody, like I swear to God, like you would see it like every week, like we'd be linked with everyone. I remember once we were linked with Neymar, and I was like, "Yo, Neymar's coming to Man United. This game over," and then we signed like Memphis instead. Like, you know, it's like it's a joke, but I'd say with the same thing, like with the Kyrie thing, like the fans have their own way of how they think they can fix the team. I think
Mhm,
with us, like I see every single fan, they've got their own way of how they think they can fix the
mhm,
team. It's
mhm.
like, go be the coach then, like,
Yeah.
oh man, I hate football.
Um, but yeah, I feel I don't know. It is kind of just a team that on paper should be performing well. They
Yeah,
have the
they're
players.
just not.
They don't have
And
the
I guess with LeBron, AD, and Russ missing out on the play-in, and then like Cristiano and all of them guys missing out on the
missing out on
Champions
Europe.
League,
Yeah,
it's like it's kind of the same boat, really. Because
yeah, I get that. Yeah.
if you have the starting 11 that we have, you shouldn't be missing out on top four,
Hmm,
especially to
hmm.
Tottenham. Not to diss Tottenham, but like we are better than them. Like especially last season, I think we were better than them. Like we beat them both times, and they still managed to beat us in the league. Like it made no sense.
Yeah,
But that's what happens
yeah,
when you're a Man United fan. You have to endure these pains.
yeah. Well, I mean, after you caused Leeds fans and every other fan base pain during the 30 years, was it
This is no, yeah. This is
17 premierships in the 30 years or something
I think
stupid like that.
it's 13
Oh,
league titles in
13,
30
sorry.
years.
Yeah, it's something stupid like that. You
Mm.
deserve this.
No, no, yeah, definitely. I can't like this is karma for just battering everyone back in the day, like, and it's like Laker fans will understand, like, growing up watching your team, like Laker fans group with like if they're our age, like Kobe, all of these like amazing players,
Hmm,
group winning.
hmm.
I only remember my team winning when I was young,
Yeah,
until I'd say end of primary school.
yeah,
That's when it all went majorly downhill,
yeah.
and here we are.
Yeah, well, I
Still,
guess yeah, like I said, it's the two big teams with massive history that should be doing better than what they're doing. That
literally,
is Man United, that is the Los Angeles Lakers. So yeah, I feel like
yeah,
definitely that.
yeah.
Newcastle, I've compared to the New Orleans Pelicans. Decent year last year, and this
Mm.
year are gonna shock a load of people
I can back
with
that
how they're doing.
100%. I think Newcastle are going to do big things. I'm excited to see Newcastle. I want them to finish in the top 8. I want to see Newcastle
Yeah.
doing some European tours next year.
No, yeah, me too. And I feel like they have the capacity to do so. Like, what, ever since Eddie Howe came in, they were third in
Mm.
points last
Eddie
season.
Howe's a great coach as well. He's a great manager.
I don't think he's the man that's going to take him to the Champions League. Personally, I feel like his his style of I feel like his style of play is very much kind of I don't want to say relegation battle kind of level, but he's never really. Obviously, he's like Bournemouth teams in the first few seasons. They were in the Premier League,
Mm.
challenged well, finished like upper like mid table ish. I
Mm.
feel like he doesn't. He has the tactics against like I want to say maybe 14 of the other 19 teams in the league, but I feel like with the against the likes of Liverpool, City, Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal, and
Mm.
you could maybe put United in there too. I personally feel like he doesn't really have the tactical prowess of the
Yeah,
other
like
managers.
you won't see Eddie Howe being able to pull off a Gengen press against Bayern Munich or
No,
something like.
definitely, it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
And you see that a bit last season. Yes, they had really good football against some of the teams around them and some of the teams
yeah,
just above them, but when they played the likes of City and Liverpool, it was just sit back, try and counter.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so
I
yeah, I
guess
feel like
they still show that like when they play the big teams, they've still got like that small team mentality kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah,
But against the teams around them, they do really well.
yeah.
And like you said with New Orleans, to be fair, I think that's a great comparison because New Orleans, like, is a team. When you look at them on paper, their team is growing,
hmm
and you could argue that, like, the star in Newcastle, Saint Maxim, is
Is
also like
same
the
as
Zion, is
Zion.
the
Yeah,
Zion. You
he,
know,
he, two men that are too good for their teams. You could
yeah,
potentially say.
majorly too good, but also you like if you get them the ball, they're gonna do something,
Hmm.
and they might not give it back as well. They probably won't give it back.
That's also true.
They,
Yeah,
they, they ain't giving it back to you. You
yeah.
can pass the ball to Zion from the start, and he will.
He will play point forward and ISO ball, and whereas give Saint Maximan the ball on the wing, he's doing about 7 step overs without actually trying to take someone on, and it's
Yeah, but it works half the time. I've
yeah, he's a
watched
very good
it
player.
like against us. It's pain, man. It's
So yeah,
pain.
like I said, we haven't done any NBA predictions yet, but I think the Pelicans put it out there top 4 in the West next season, in my opinion. If Zion stays healthy, I feel like
Top four.
that team could be top 4 in the West next season
Damn.
if Zion
I
stays
would love
healthy.
for that to happen, but that would be crazy. If
And
Zion
obviously,
stays healthy, to be fair.
Newcastle aren't finishing top 4.
Yeah.
It's very different in the Premier League compared to the
But you could see a top 8 for them, I think.
yeah, easy
You could see
like
them finish
top 8,
8th.
top 7, easy.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
And yeah, you could see that. And that's Europe for them.
Yeah, so
That's
two teams that are going to be interesting a few people and exciting a few people this season. Another team
definitely.
that's going to excite a few people, I think, is Nottingham Forest. I don't know what to expect from them. They've signed a load of people. They're it's obviously going to be interesting to see how they gel. Obviously, won at the weekend in a game that they were on the ropes, in my opinion, for quite a bit of.
Mm,
But obviously, they've played Newcastle and West Ham, two very good
yeah.
teams so far. So I can't really like make a proper judgment on it. I've compared them to Portland because I feel like no one knows what's going to
Okay.
happen with Portland this year.
Okay. Okay. I
With
like
with
that.
Dame coming back, how Anthony Simons is going to develop, Jeremy Grant. I feel like no one knows. This could either be a massive flop, and they're gonna finish like 13th in the West, or it could be amazing and we could see him in another Western Conference Finals. Who knows?
I
Um,
like that actually.
with Portland, no one knows what's gonna happen with Portland this season, and no one knows what's gonna happen with Forest this season. They might surprise a lot of people, finish like 11th, 12th. They might be in a relegation battle and just survive on the last day, like Leeds did last season, or they could break Derby's record for the lowest amount of points in in the Premier League. Like they could finish rock bottom. No one knows what's going to happen with Forest this season, and I feel like Portland
Yeah.
share that kind
And
of
I think the amount of additions they've made to the team as well, it just adds the like, what are they gonna do? Like,
uncertainty kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah, like it's kind of crazy to be fair, but I mean, it's I think you're right with Portland especially because it's like there's so much like suspense around what are they gonna do? Like, are they gonna be like, are they gonna bring back like that Showtime Portland that we know from like
Hmm.
4 or 5 years ago? Like, and Nottingham obviously they have, I know it's so long ago, but they have the history.
They do.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
they have the history of they won a European title when they were in the Premier League. Like, they were a big team. Like they had legends like Roy Keane, obviously Man United legend, but before that he was a Nottingham Forest legend.
Hmm.
Brian Clough as a manager.
Hmm.
These
Yeah.
big names around them.
Hmm.
Same with Portland as of recent. Obviously, Dame, they had CJ, like, and they were like a team like to watch, like watching them in the playoffs was like amazing. Like this is the type of stuff you wanted to see, and
Hmm.
they used to bring that so long ago, and now, like, I mean, there's the suspense of can they bring that to this day? Can Nottingham bring back that edge that they had all them years ago when most of these players weren't even around to see it? And will Portland bring back that same feeling of 5 6 years ago? Like, even though the time difference is like there, the feeling of is quite similar. So I quite
Yeah.
like that comparison. I think it's quite nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll move on to Tottenham. Tottenham Hotspur, a team who never win anything despite having some very good teams. That screams the Los Angeles Clippers to me.
Bro, it does scream the Clippers because I wrote them too.
Yeah, the Clippers. I mean, ever since I remember basketball, which is only really from mid 2000s onwards, they've had
Hmm.
the likes of Lob City in the cup,
Yeah,
and obviously now recently Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Arguably one of the best duos in the league. Tottenham have arguably one of the best duos in the Premier League
yeah.
in Son and Kane.
But they
Maybe
only really have two good players. Like, same with
yeah.
like like Clippers and Tottenham. Like, you look at the Clippers, if Paul George and Kawhi are there, it's dangerous.
Hmm. Hmm.
Same with if Kane and Son are playing, it ain't safe. But if Kane and
No,
Son aren't playing, Tottenham
it's a
automatically
good team.
becomes like a dub. Like, you can beat them. You can
Yeah,
beat them.
yeah.
And like we've seen, obviously Kawhi has been injured all season, and like from last season and the season before, and PG he gets injured here and there, and then at that point it's like Clippers. It doesn't seem like a game that you can go out and lose. Like, there
Hmm.
were a few games that they were beating teams, and that was like a shock to us. We'd be doing podcasts from all that, like, them weeks ago that Clippers would win a game without PG, and we'd be like, whoa, like they did that, like, and I think it'd be the same with Tottenham, but I like also they just never win in the end. Like, they just
No,
never
yeah,
actually
they
end up
get there,
winning.
they get there, they get there. They have good teams. They have decent coaches.
Mm.
Obviously, say what you want about Doc Rivers, but I think he's a legendary coach.
Yeah,
Decent coaches in the past, and yeah, just in the end, it never really works out for them. I feel
never.
like Tottenham might win something this season, though, personally, and I
I
think
mean, you'd like to see it just for the sake of
Conte's a
like
serial winner. I feel
he
like,
is, he is.
yeah,
But then
he has to
again,
bring something there.
like we said the same thing about Jose when he stepped into Tottenham. That guy is literally a serial winner. He's won everything there is to win, and
Didn't get time to do it.
yeah, that is true. That's true.
Yeah.
But I mean, that might just be the plague of Tottenham. You just go there, you don't win.
It is the history of the Tottenham.
But
The
no, I
the
like that comparison really well. I think
yeah
it just makes sense. Both teams never win, but they always look all right.
yeah yeah. Penultimate team, West Ham. I think they have a really good fan base, but their team itself, maybe up until the last, I think last season, money was put into the team. Season before, money was put into
Mm.
the team. But other than that, it's not a very well run team. And I personally think New York is kind of like that.
Yeah,
I,
I was
I
waiting for us.
yeah, I personally think New York are kind of like that. Very passionate team,
Yeah,
big fan base. Obviously, New York have all of the history. West Ham, you know, West Ham won the World Cup for England in
West Ham won the World
1966.
Cup, bro.
Yeah,
West
so
Ham won the
you
World
know,
Cup.
West Ham have big history too, apparently. So yeah, but yeah, it's not the best ran team in my opinion. Obviously, they took I don't know who the owners of West Ham is off the top of my head, but obviously they took them out of Upton Park, put them in the
Mm.
London Stadium, big stadium, but
The absolute
yeah,
custard ball of the Premier League, that
exactly.
place, I swear.
Yeah, it's
No,
mental.
I
Yeah.
can definitely back that. Like, they've got a massive fan base and the fans are very loyal. And
Mhm.
the same with the New York fans. Like, they will go and watch New York get battered every single time that it is them playing. But when they win, they'll go crazy. And
Yeah.
like the West Ham fans are amazing like that. Like, I've got a friend who grew up in Essex and like around like East London area. And he was telling me like about when it was game week and Upton Park, like that whole area would just be like you couldn't breathe because there was just a swarm of fans like going to the stadium, going to the market, the train, and everything. And
Mhm.
it's like it's classic football culture. Like you know, I know a lot of people like football fans will have seen the movie Green Street. Like it's which is why like people who don't really watch football think like we're so mental because of that movie. Like and but it really is like it's old school football culture that these West Ham fans have kept. Like they've always kept it there because like they're such a like classical football club, one of the oldest football clubs in the country as well. And I think with New York, obviously, like they're one of the oldest teams in the NBA. Like they've been
Mhm.
there since the jump. The fans have been there. Like the fans never switch. They're always just they keep pure basketball culture there. And
Yeah.
I think them two teams like keep like their respective sports like at such a like what's the way of saying it, like they keep that tradition there. And
Mhm.
that's why they're really important, even though they might not be winning all the time, they might not be at the top. But I think keeping tradition, especially for the sports, is really important because then once that goes, it's kind of just like what's the point. Like you mentioned the Super League, that was something that was like kind of about to come around and it was very close to happening. Like a lot of these teams like were saying, like I know Man United and Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, from the Premier League, they were all like down for the Super League to happen. And then it would have taken away the competitive edge and like the tradition from like West Ham,
Stops the
Leeds
likes of West
United.
Ham from like
Yeah.
progressing into potentially another. But like, obviously, they finished top six 2 seasons ago.
Mm.
Ultimately, could have finished top six last season. They were up around the top four for the majority
Yeah,
of last
they, they
season too.
they weren't far off as well. I think they
No,
finished seventh last season.
yeah, and well, they could have finished sixth if they'd have
Mm.
actually won on the last day. So
Yeah. And it's
yeah,
it's like because like obviously we remember 2015-16 when Leicester won the Premier League. It's
mhm.
like these crazy things that can just happen like
I want
out
to
of
say that. I
nowhere.
want to say that. I want to say that was the same season that West Ham finished like sixth or seventh as well, like with Dimi Payet.
Yeah,
Final season
yeah,
at London
yeah. It
Stadium.
was around that time.
Yeah,
It was. Yeah.
yeah. So I feel like they have like New York, they have like just mediocrity, and then they have one season where they're like really good,
Mm,
and then they'll go back to mediocrity for a little bit, and
mm,
then they'll have another season where they're really good. I feel like
yeah,
West Ham, they have a lot of mediocrity, but have recently become very good.
yeah.
Um, and obviously, I've had good seasons in the past too.
Mm,
Um, obviously, at the moment, if you're a West Ham fan and you want to support an NBA team that are doing as well in the league as you are, then don't support New York. But I feel like
no, no. Support New York. Trust me.
if you
Trust me.
want a team that's very like your team, New York is the way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Then that'll lead us to the final one, Wolves. Now, this is only really going off of last season, in my opinion. Wolves were quite
Mm,
hard to uh, compare to. Wolves were a team last season who started off very well and then had an absolute stinker towards the end of the season and only
yeah.
only finished like towards the bottom of mid table. Utah are kind of like that in my opinion. We always call them
Yeah.
the regular season goats, and then they fall off
In the
um,
playoffs, they just flop
towards
every
the end
single
of the
time.
season. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be what happens in Utah this season. I don't know. I don't think Donovan Mitchell is the guy that's just going to carry them. Equally, I don't think Wolves. Obviously, Wolves didn't start really well this season. Only got 1 point after
Hmm.
playing Leeds and Fulham, which are from a Wolves perspective, I bet they're two games that they were expecting to win.
Yeah.
So this season that might not be the case. Yeah, I think I obviously I respect Wolves. I think they're a decent team, but they might be in a bit of trouble this season, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're looking like they might lose a couple of players. They might lose Ruben Neves. Jose Sa might be out the window.
They have
Um,
brought in Matias Nunes, the Portuguese FC, really.
yes, I saw
Broken
him.
their transfer record on him, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah, I
saw
mean,
that.
I must say that their owners are doing their owners are decent, putting money in the club.
Yeah.
So I feel like decent coach,
Mm,
decent back office kind of
mm,
thing. Yeah, but again, they're just a team that's kind of there that you're not really expecting to challenge, but you're also not expecting to have a terrible season.
yeah.
But equally can beat anyone and everyone.
Yeah, I like that.
Decent defensive team as well. Wolves
Yeah.
are, and Utah obviously had the 3-time defensive player of the year in
Yeah,
Rudy
Rudy.
Gobert,
They did.
so they don't anymore. But yeah, that in my opinion though is who I think, and obviously Sully's weighed in with his opinions too, as is who we think for Premier League teams, what their NBA comparisons are. If you're a Premier League fan, you support any of those 20 teams, and you want to get into basketball, obviously our words aren't gospel.
No, they are. He's lying. They are.
Okay,
We are
okay,
right. We
right,
are right. Nobody else is right. We
okay,
are
sorry,
correct.
sorry. Don't support who you want to support. Then we are telling you who to
Support who we
support.
tell you to support.
Yeah, except don't support the Lakers if you
Yeah,
want to
no,
have a
don't
good
do that.
time.
Don't do that, please.
But yeah, like I said, that is who we think the NBA comparison to the Premier League is. I don't really know how to explain it. Your favorite football team's NBA comparison.
Yeah, yeah.
That seems like a decent
Or
title.
your favorite NBA team football comparison, whichever way
That
you're
could also
watching
be
this.
true. Yeah, whichever that is true. Yeah, I'm gonna say if you're an NBA fan, you want to get into good good football, then yeah, that is who you should support, in my opinion. Commiserations to the 10 NBA teams who didn't get put in.
Yeah, we missed out a few. We missed out what the Timberwolves. We missed out
Yeah, we
on.
missed out Timberwolves. I missed out Miami.
Yeah, I missed out Celtics. And if you want to look at it like that, we missed out a few teams. When you think about it, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
Phoenix
yeah,
missed
the
out.
likes Phoenix. Yeah. Who else? Was we said Denver? No, Denver.
Yeah, Denver missed out. That's a
So
big
yeah,
one. That's a
so yeah,
big
it's
one.
obviously there are other big teams, but in
Mm.
my opinion,
Cleveland missed out.
yeah, in my opinion, the 20 Premier League teams, they're the 20 NBA teams that they're most like.
Yeah, yeah.
Now I'll conclude this week's episode of Beyond the Arc. Sully is back, hopefully to stay. He goes on holiday in a few days though, so we're gonna try and get ahead. But you might be seeing me on my own for a little bit in the future, but hopefully not. Hopefully not. But anyway, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you're liking and subscribing onto the YouTube. Make sure you're sharing it out no matter what you're listening on. Make sure you're commenting down below anything that you want to see. The NBA season, as of recording, the first games of the NBA season have been announced. Obviously, Christmas Day games were announced a few days ago. The first NBA games are going to be on like the 19th of October, around about that time, 17th
Damn,
to the
that's so
19th.
long, man. That's so long.
So 2 months from now, though, not
NBA, man. Sort it out, man. Making us wait.
their off season's mad long when you think about it.
It's so long. Like, it's just so unnecessary. Like, imagine if your team doesn't make the playoffs as well. How long are you not watching your team play basketball for? Months, like almost half a year.
Yeah, it's
Like,
crazy. It's crazy.
that is
But
crazy.
but those
NBA fix
82
them, man.
those 82 games in the other half of the year, I guess, make up for it. So
Yeah, I guess so.
anyway, like I said, make sure you like and subscribe, and make sure you share it out no matter what you're listening on. And yeah, hopefully, if we record in time, me and Sully will see you guys next week for some more NBA off-season videos. Peace.